Hello everybody, this is ManuS and welcome to the second part of my introduction to Artifact. Last time we took a look at the client, I showed you around, and today we start with some gameplay and some more content. So today I want to show you the starter decks. When you start Artifact, you pay $20, you get 10 packs, 5 event tickets. Together they have a value of $25, and then you get 2 starter decks for free on top of it, so you have some pre-constructed decks to play with against your friends or to just mess around with constructed alternative to draft. And today we're going to take a look at one of the 2 starter decks, the Red-Green Brawler deck, and in the second video series we will take a look at the other starter deck, the Blue-Black Control deck. Alright, let's take a look. Okay, so this is the deck builder, the collection that we saw last time, and as always, the cam is always in the way of something in Artifact because all the space is fully used. So I'll just click the cards and you'll just focus on the cards in the middle, and I'll talk about the numbers that are in the deck. But you can still see the number of like the cost of the card, but you can't see how many copies are in the deck. So I'll just tell you how many copies the deck plays and make the card big in the middle. I think that's the best solution. I kind of don't want to make the videos without face cam or just move the face cam around for everything, because here it's like in a good position for the games, and the cards are more interesting in the middle and big anyway, as long as you know how many copies are in the deck. And also you will get the starter yourself when you play, so you'll see how many copies there are. Okay, so first I want to talk about the heroes. The deck has 5 heroes. The first one of the 3 flop heroes, the deck has these 3 set up as a flop. The first one is the basic hero Farvan the Dreamer. It's not a great hero, but it, as like all base heroes, he is solid. There are worse non-base heroes and there are better non-base heroes. They're probably in the like lower at like bottom 40% or something of heroes, but like at the top of the 40%, I would say. He's a 4/10, and his ability gives his allied neighbors +1 armor, and he has a signature card that's a 4-cost 006 that also gives its neighbors 1 armor. So it's basically like a small version of himself. It only blocks some damage and does some stuff, so it's mostly to buy yourself some time and yeah, slow down a potential like snowballing from the opponent. Then second we have another base hero, Keefe the Bold. He's a bit better, I would say, than Farvan. He's probably, like at least unit-wise, the strongest of the base heroes, but his card is not that great. He's a 6/111, makes him pretty beefy. He beats everything over 2 turns, and some smaller heroes even in 1 turn. And the armor helps him get out alive. And then you have his signature card, Fighting Instinct, which you can use on him or any of the other 2 red heroes in the deck. It modifies a red hero with +1 attack and 1 armor. Not that impressive, pretty expensive for 5. It's basically together with 1 copy of this card, he turns into the better version of him, X, which is actually a super good hero, and I think even a rare, uncommon or rare, I think a rare, and one of the best heroes in the game. But yeah, X also has an amazing signature card. Well, this guy needs his signature card to even become as good as X. He's X in training. But yeah, card is not great, but you need red heroes, you have some body, and he's decent, and he's like one of the heroes they flop. I'm not sure why they chose to flop Keefe over Ursa. I might prefer flopping Ursa, but we'll see Ursa in a moment. This is another hero, another red hero, the 3rd flop hero. I just kind of like the analogy of using the first 3 as flop, the 4th as turn, and the 5th as river, like in poker, where you have the 3 flop cards, the 1 turn card and the 1 river card, and that's kind of the terminology a lot of people have been using, and it makes a lot of sense and is a nice analogy. So for anyone that was wondering where that's coming from, it's just poker reference. Also, the game has a lot of similarities to poker in some regard. It has a lot of RNG variants that you can't control, but that you can manage and work with and work around. But yeah, enough poker off-track talk. Sven is a 5'11". His ability gives him cleave X, where X is half his attack. Important to know is, which this doesn't clarify, it's half his attack rounded down. So he has 2 cleave base. If you give him +2 and he's 7, he has 3 cleave and so on. So it's always half his attack rounded down. His signature card works pretty well with him. It gives a red hero permanently +4 attack. In his case, would make him a 9/11 and give him cleave 4, which is really strong because then he sweeps all the base creeps around him and kind of helps snowball Elaine, or like control Elaine in a way. He's also very beefy at 11 health, which is probably part of why they put him on the flop, because there's nothing that can one-shot him. Then we have the turn hero. This is actually a really good hero, even for like potentially constructed and a high pick and limited. Lycan, another 4/10. A lot of the green heroes are 4/10, but he has a really good ability, unlike the other guy that gives 1 armor to his neighbors. Lycan gives 2 attack to his neighbors. And his signature card, Savage Wolf, is a really good 4-drop that once it survives the first combat becomes a 4/5 and then keeps growing out of control and can really snowball unanswered, so it's something that the opponent cannot ignore. And the 5th hero is Ursa, 7/10, another pretty solid limited hero, and maybe even constructed. Not sure yet, I don't know too much about constructed. He's a 7/10, and he gives the opponent, gives each unit that he deals damage to permanently -1 armor. And then his signature card is Enrage. It gives a red hero +4 attack and +4 armor this turn. Makes your red heroes beat most things in combat and works really well with the cleave from Sven, for example. It's not super flashy, but it's nice to swing combats. Make your red hero survive, kill what's in front of it, that types of thing. I'm a bit surprised with the flop turn river choice here. I could totally see flopping Ursa over, say, Sven, because he basically doesn't beat any opposing heroes other than Crystal Maiden on the flop, and with his cleave it's kind of nice to control where he's going, where his cleave does the most. So I would probably put Lycan in the flop with this deck and put Sven on the river, because Lycan can actually beat quite a lot of heroes on the flop that he might get matched against. And if he ends up in an empty spot, he hits the tower for 7. Maybe I'm undervaluing just the random flop value of Sven's cleave. If he lands in front of a hero, he cleaves the creeps around the hero down over 2 turns and stuff, but I don't know, I feel like Sven is a better, is not that good of an opening hero compared to Lycan. Anyway, time to talk about the cards in the deck. The deck is sort of a red-green brawler, which means it's basically a mid-rangey aggressive deck. You're still kind of aggressive and kind of trying to push your opponent, but not like an actual aggro deck. You're more like playing for value, playing for good board position and good exchanges. And yeah, when you can't make good trades and stuff, you just push down the tower rather than just trying to ignore your opponent as much as possible, even make bad trades to deal damage to the tower and that sort of stuff. First off, we have new orders. Deck plays 2 copies, just a decent utility card. You choose an ally and choose a new combat target for it. That, for example, can make you win a flop if you don't land in front of the hero, but you could kill it with your hero. You can just use new orders to make your hero flank the enemy hero and kill it on the first turn and stuff like that. And you can also do the same with some of your creeps and stuff. It's just a nice way to help control the board. I think this deck is a lot about board control, and new orders helps a lot there. Then we have 1 Poise to Strike, another cheap utility card. It's only 1 copy. +4 attack this round, has nice synergy with Sven's cleave ability, and can just randomly help you win some combat exchange. It's not very impressive, but it's cheap and it can do a couple of nice things. So 1 seems like an okay number. Then we have Bronze Legionnaire, a really great early game play. You start with 3 mana, so you can only play cards that cost 3 or less, and Bronze Legionnaire is very cheap for what it does, and it either smacks one of the early melee creeps of the opponent for free, or just deals 4 damage to the tower and then kind of snowballs the lane a bit. Both is fine, really good card, 2 copies in the deck. Then we have Defensive Stance, another card that can positively impact an exchange, this time more defensively. It gives a hero +3 armor this round to help you survive an exchange, maybe turn a trade into a 1-for-0, or like trade defensive stance for the enemy hero rather than your own hero, and that sort of stuff. But yeah, nothing impressive, just some more utility to play for the board and get an advantage on the board, avoid trades and turn trades into more board control, more board advantage. Another turn 1 play, Hellbear Crippler, a lot worse than Bronze Legionnaire, more expensive and weaker. It unfortunately still trades with creeps over 2 turns with melee creeps, so it's not something you want to play into a melee creep usually, but you can play it into an empty spot hoping for a flank on turn 1, or just go for tower damage, for example. You don't really want to put it in front of a creep, or like a melee creep or a tower. Maybe you can put it in front of like a turn 1 creep the opponent played that might trade with it or something. 2 copies in the deck. Then we have Avernus Blessing, some more utility, also 2 copies. The deck basically only plays 1 or 2 copies of all the cards other than the signature cards. You have some diversity as you are used to from pre-constructed decks in other games, so that people get to play with as many different cards as possible and try out things. Yeah, this modifies any unit, not just a hero with +2 attack, just another way to make trades happen or finish off opponents that you wouldn't kill, stuff like that. Then we have Rebel Decoy, another really nice turn 1 play, potential turn 1 play from green. It's a 2/3 and you can activate it once a turn to swap it with any other ally in the lane. So that can save your hero from dying. You can put it in front of an opposing hero when the flop didn't go your way, and then swap the Rebel Decoy with your hero to put your hero in front of an enemy hero that it would kill, and set up trades that way. Another very nice utility card. This card's really strong and really annoying to play against, because you never quite know what's going to happen. It gives the opponent a lot of options and makes it kind of hard to play around it while it's active. Then we have 1 Clear the Deck. That's just another nice sort of lane control, creep control card. It gives all your heroes in that lane +4 cleave this round, which is enough to cleave away all basic melee creeps and probably kill a bunch of other things in the process. It can really wipe a lane and put you far ahead in that lane. There's 1 copy in the deck for situations when this comes up. Then we have 1 Crippling Blow, 2 Crippling Blow, another kind of more defensive utility card. Not very good, it's pretty expensive. It modifies a hero with -2 attack. Usually you want to use that on an enemy hero to avoid a trade or losing your own hero. Then we have Enrage, the signature card we already talked about. Next we have Sucker Punch, 2 Sucker Punches. Works particularly well in decks that have 3 or more red heroes. You stun a unit blocking an allied red hero this round and deal 2 damage to that. You can use that to deny the opponent playing spells this turn, stunning their only hero of that color, or maybe even finish off a hero before combat, so your hero goes to the tower. If the 2 damage is enough to finish them off, you can turn a trade between heroes into a win for your hero because it doesn't take damage from the stunned unit, or you can turn a combat that wouldn't result in any hero dying into their hero dying and yours not even taking damage. It's a pretty powerful and swingy effect. It's a bit situational because of all the setup you need, but once you have the setup, the card's super powerful, especially for 4 mana. Then we have Arm the Rebellion, another way to kind of play the board and get a HUD on the board. It modifies allied creeps with +2 attack and 1 armor, making them easily outmatch most opposing creeps, and then makes the lane really snowball and let you trade profitably. As I said already, the trend here is pretty clear. You play for the board, you play for board advantage, you want better stats, better trades, want to kill their stuff without losing your own, and so on. Then the Brawler Vanguard from the green base hero, then more 4-drops, another 2-off, say to a Duelist, 3/5 for 4, and after combat he gets +2 attack. The 5 health means it even doesn't trade with a melee creep over 2 turns, but it usually without help takes 2 turns to kill the melee creep, and then you are left with an X1. So you usually want to try and play this in like an empty spot and then snowball it, and then the opponent either can put stuff in front to throw it away, or it just kind of like runs down the tower. It's a pretty solid turn 2 play. Then we have a lot of 4-cost cards in the deck. We also have the 3 Savage Wolves from Lycan, and then we have 1 more 4-drop in Selfish Cleric. This one is better at fighting creeps than pushing damage. Say to Duelist is more the kind of thing that snowballs on the tower, while Selfish Cleric just mashes through a horde of creeps because it just heals itself every time and one-shots melee creeps. Now we have the Fighting Instincts from Kifi and the God Strength from Sven. And last but not least, the last 2 cards as Curve Dropper. As you can see, the curve of the deck is not that high. 6 in a game that starts with 3 mana on turn 1. This is sort of like the curve ending at like 4 mana in, say, Magic or Eternal. Ogre Conscript, pretty strong card. 6 cost, 7/2/7. Can beat a lot of the smaller heroes on its own and come out ahead. And beats most creeps in combat, survives a lot of them, does a lot of damage on the tower. It's just a really good raid for the cost. Premium card in Limited. Not sure how good it is in Constructed in the larger sense, but in these pre-constructed decks they probably play a lot more like Limited, and this card's going to be really strong. And then there's the item deck. 2 Leather Armor, 2 Short Sword, 2 Traveler's Cloak, the typical base stuff. You might want to modify that a bit, maybe cut a Leather Armor for a Traveler's Cloak. This Traveler's Cloak's really good and Leather Armor is pretty weak. Then 1 Barb Mail, not great, but another card that's kind of offense-defense, kind of like the whole deck. Blade of Vigil, and it's the same offensive item that gives you some board control, exactly what the deck wants. And then 1 like top-end item, a Ring of Tarask, that makes a hero almost unkillable, other than with hard removal like Coup de Grace. Alright, that's the deck. A red-green, aggressive mid-range board advantage oriented deck, and I am gonna hop into some queues with it, into some games to show it in action. I was thinking I'll play like 3 games with it maybe, to give you guys some gameplay and show the decks in action like you're used to from my deck text in Eternal, and you get an idea how this deck performs against what other people are doing right now. I mean, it's a pre-constructed deck, so don't expect too much, but a lot of people might have the same, so I'll go into casual play where you'll probably find most other people with their starter decks as well, or decks of a similar level. Alright, that's it for the deck tech of the Red-Green Brawler starter deck, and as usual, if you want to see more of this content, make sure to subscribe to the channel down here, turn on the notification icon to not miss out on future content, and if you want to further support this content, please consider whitelisting YouTube to support this content for free with ads. Alright, see you in a moment with the first game. Stay tuned.